Rami was not special. At least that's what he always thought. He lived in a small village surrounded by wide green fields and tall trees. He worked on his uncle's farm, fed the animals, and helped carry water from the well. Every day was the same. Quiet, simple, normal. But everything changed the day something fell from the sky. It was just before sunset. Rami had finished feeding the chickens and was walking back through the fields. The sky was turning orange and purple. Then he saw it, a bright flash high above, like a shooting star but slower, glowing blue and gold. It left a trail in the sky as it came down, landing somewhere deep in the forest nearby. Rami stood still, his eyes wide. He had seen falling stars before, but nothing like this. It looked close, very close. He ran. The forest was quiet when he reached it. Birds flew away as he stepped between the trees. Smoke rose from behind a hill, thin and silver, like mist. He followed it, pushing through bushes and branches until he saw something strange lying in a small clearing. It was a metal box, half buried in the soft ground, still warm and glowing faintly. Around it, the grass was pressed flat, but not burned. Inside the open box was a single object, a bracelet. It was smooth, silver, and round, with strange lines carved into it. Small glowing dots moved across its surface like stars in the night. Rami looked around. No one was there. He picked it up. The bracelet was cold at first. Then it warmed in his hand. It almost felt like it was breathing. He should have left it. He should have taken it to the village chief. But curiosity was stronger. Maybe it's just a toy, he whispered. He slipped the bracelet onto his wrist. Click. The sound was quiet, but final. The bracelet tightened slightly, just enough to stay in place. Rami pulled at it, but it didn't. Move. He tried twisting it. Still nothing. Huh, he said. Weird. He walked home as the stars came out. The bracelet glowed gently in the dark like a small moon on his wrist. He tried to cover it with his sleeve, hoping no one would notice. That night, Rami couldn't sleep. He lay on his mat staring at the ceiling. His body felt heavy. Then he heard a sound, not with his ears, but inside his head, a soft voice. Echoing, calling his name. Rami! He sat up quickly. His heart raced. The room was dark. He looked at the bracelet. It was glowing brighter now, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Then he saw something, not with his eyes, but in his mind. Tall towers, floating ships, a city in the clouds, and a throne made of stars. A woman stood at the center, her eyes bright. Gold, her voice calm and powerful. You have been found, she said. Rami gasped and sat up. The vision was gone. He was back in his room, sweating, confused, and scared. The next morning, he ran to his best friend, Mina. She worked at the village bakery and always listened to him, even when no one else did. It's just a bracelet, right? Rami asked her. But I can't take it off, and I saw things, Mina. Strange things. She raised her eyebrows. What kind of things? Cities in the sky. A voice. A woman said, I've been found. Mina looked at the bracelet. It's glowing. I know. It's like it's alive. Maybe you should tell the chief. Rami shook his head. What if they take it? What if... It's important. Mina sighed. You and your strange luck. They laughed, but deep down, Rami wasn't sure if this was luck or trouble. That evening, the sky turned dark earlier than usual. Clouds rolled in fast. The wind grew strong. People looked up and pointed. A giant shadow moved above the village. It wasn't a cloud. It was a ship, huge, silent, floating like a mountain in the sky. Lights blinked along its sides. A beam of golden light shot down into the village square. People screamed and ran inside their homes. Rami stood frozen. The bracelet on his wrist began to glow, brighter than ever before. Figures appeared in the light. Tall beings covered in golden armor stepped forward. They had smooth skin, glowing eyes, and long robes that floated as they walked. They looked around, slowly, calmly, as if searching. Then one of them turned toward Rami. She walked forward and knelt before him. All the villagers gasped from their windows and doorways. The alien spoke in a soft, musical voice. The words were strange. At first, then, somehow, Rami understood. "You wear the bond," she said. "You are the chosen mate." Rami's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The bracelet on his wrist shimmered with golden light. The alien stood and bowed her head. "We have searched across the stars. At last, we have found you." Rami took a step back. "Me? No. I think you're making a mistake." But deep in his heart, he knew. From the moment he saw the bracelet fall from the sky, his life was never going to be normal again. The village was quiet, too quiet. No birds sang, no dogs barked. Even the wind had stopped. Everyone was hiding inside their homes, doors shut, windows covered. But Rami stood in the open, frozen in place, staring at the tall alien woman who had just called him the chosen mate. He couldn't believe it. The bracelet on his wrist was glowing bright gold, and the light was pulsing softly. It felt warm, almost like it was alive. The alien woman still stood before him, her eyes calm, her hands open. She did not look angry or dangerous. She looked respectful. Behind her stood 5 more aliens, all wearing golden armor with strange patterns. Their faces were smooth and silver, and their eyes glowed softly like tiny stars. They carried long staffs but did not raise them. They made no move to harm anyone. Rami finally found his voice. "I don't understand. Why me? I'm just a farm boy. I never left this village." The alien woman bowed her head. "You wear the bond of the ancients. It chose you. That means you are the one we've been searching for." Rami looked down at the bracelet. "But I just found it in the forest. It fell from the sky." "That was no accident," she replied. "The bond only falls where it senses the right one. You were meant to find it." Mina, who had been hiding behind a wooden cart, slowly stepped forward. "What do you want with him?" The alien turned to her. "He must come with us. It is his destiny." Mina frowned. "He has a life here. He can't just leave." Rami felt torn. His heart beat fast. Everything was happening too quickly. One moment he was feeding chickens. Now strange beings from the stars wanted to take him to some unknown world. "I'm not ready for this," he said quietly. The alien woman gently placed her hand over her chest. "We understand. But the Empire needs you." "Why?" Rami asked. "What does this bracelet even mean?" She looked up at the giant ship above the village. "Let us explain. Please come with us. We will not force you." Mina looked at Rami. "Whatever you decide, I'm with you." Rami nodded slowly. He turned to the alien. "Okay, I'll come, but only to understand. I won't stay unless I choose to." The alien smiled. "That is fair." The golden light surrounded him. Slowly, Rami and the aliens began to float upwards into the air. Mina watched, her eyes wide, as her best friend disappeared into the sky. The inside of the ship was beautiful, not cold and metallic like in stories. It was full of soft lights, quiet music, and walls that shimmered like water. Everything felt alive. Rami walked through long halls with glowing symbols. Windows showed the stars outside. He saw other beings, too. Tall, short, some with wings, others with smooth blue skin. They all looked peaceful. The alien woman walked beside him. "My name is Alari. I am the first guard of Queen Velna, ruler of the Oran Empire." "Oran Empire?" Rami asked. "It is one of the greatest empires in the galaxy, a place of peace, wisdom, and beauty. And soon, Perhaps you're home. Rami stopped walking. Why would you want someone like me? I'm not a leader. I'm not brave. Alari smiled gently. The bond does not choose for power. It chooses for heart. Rami didn't know what to say. He kept walking, his mind spinning. They finally reached a large, round room. At the center was a large screen showing a spinning planet. Not Earth, but something bigger, glowing with lights. That is Orin Prime, said Alari, our capital. The Queen waits for you there. Rami stared at the planet. What if I don't want to be part of this? What if I just want to go home? You are free to choose, Alari said. But once you understand what the bond truly is, your heart may decide differently. Hours passed. The ship moved faster than light, and soon Rami saw Orin Prime with his own eyes. The capital city was massive. Towers taller than mountains, ships flying in perfect lines, gardens floating in the sky. Everything glowed with soft light, and there was no smoke, no waste, no war. When Rami stepped out of the ship, a soft breeze touched his face. The air smelled like flowers. He looked around in amazement. Alari led him to the Crystal Palace, where Queen Velna waited. Velna was tall and elegant, her skin a soft silver blue, her eyes golden like the sun. She wore a robe that shimmered like the stars, and on her wrist was a bracelet that looked like Rami's. He bowed without thinking. She smiled. You are Rami, she said. Welcome. I don't know why I'm here, he replied. She stood and walked down the steps. Long ago, our empire made a pact with the ancients, powerful beings who left behind tools to guide the future. One of those tools is the bond bracelet. It finds someone pure of heart, brave in spirit, and open to peace. Rami shook his head. But I'm no one. I'm not strong. I don't even like talking in front of crowds. Velna nodded. That is why the bond chose you. You are not here to fight or rule with power. You are here to bring balance, to help us see the truth. You are the chosen mate, not because you are perfect, but because you are real. Rami looked at his bracelet. It began to glow again, matching the Queen's. A soft light formed between them, gentle and warm. What happens now? He asked. You learn, said Velna. You explore our world, you ask questions, you find your own answers, and when the time is right, you will decide if you wish to stay or return to Earth. Rami felt his legs shake. So much had changed so fast, but something inside him, something deep, told him this was only the beginning. He looked up at the stars through the palace windows. For the first time in his life, he wondered what else was waiting out there, not just for him, but for all of Earth. Rami sat near a large window inside the Crystal Palace. Below, the great city of Orin Prime stretched far into the distance. Towers of glass and silver touched the clouds. Flying ships moved in quiet lines. Gardens floated in the air, full of glowing flowers and trees with blue leaves. Everything was peaceful, beautiful, strange. He had only been on this alien world for 2 days, but it already felt like he had stepped into a dream. The bracelet on his wrist still glowed softly, always warm, always calm. But inside, Rami's heart was full of questions. Why him? Why now? And what did it really mean to be the chosen mate of an alien queen? The doors behind him opened. Alari, the first guard, stepped into the room. Her armor shone like sunlight. She gave a respectful nod. The Queen wishes to see you, she said. Rami stood and followed her through the palace. The halls were quiet, with soft lights moving across the floor like waves. He passed rooms full of art, music, and books, all written in a language that now somehow made sense to him. The bracelet had given him the ability to understand it. Finally, they entered a large, round chamber. Queen Velna stood in the center, looking at a glowing map of the stars. She turned as Rami entered. "Good morning," she said. "Morning," Rami replied. "Though I don't really know if it's morning here." She smiled. "Time moves differently in space. You'll get used to it." He stepped closer. "You said I could learn more." "I want to understand. Not just the bracelet, but everything." Velna nodded. "That is wise. Come. Let me show you the heart of our empire." They walked through the palace and into a floating platform. It rose high into the sky, carrying them over the city. Velna pointed to the towers below. "Our people came from many planets. We do not all look the same, but we share the same dream: peace, knowledge, and unity. We built this world together." Rami watched small flying ships carrying people between buildings. "Everything looks perfect." Velna's face grew serious. "It is not perfect. We have problems, disagreements, even danger. But we try to solve them with understanding, not war." Rami looked down at his bracelet. "And the bond? What does it really do?" Velna raised her wrist. Her bracelet matched his, glowing gently. "The bond is more than a symbol. It connects two souls across stars. It was created by the ancients long ago. They believed one person from outside our world could bring new light to our people." Rami frowned. "But I'm just a normal boy from a small village." "That's exactly why the bond chose you," Velna said. "You see the world not through power, but through kindness." Later that day, Velna brought Rami to the Library of Suns, the largest knowledge center in the empire. Its walls were covered with star maps, ancient records, and glowing crystals that held stories from thousands of years ago. Rami walked between tall shelves filled with strange scrolls and floating books. A soft voice came from a nearby wall. It was reading a story aloud in a gentle tone. He sat and listened. The story was about a lonely explorer who crossed the galaxy to find a forgotten world. The explorer was not strong or clever, but had a kind heart. In the end, he brought peace between two enemy planets. Velna sat beside him. "This story is old, but true. It reminds us that one voice can change many lives." Rami nodded slowly. "I think I understand now. You don't want a fighter. You want someone who sees with a different heart?" She smiled. "Yes, but not everyone agrees." That evening, Rami was invited to a gathering in the Star Garden, a peaceful place where leaders from across the empire met. Creatures from many worlds sat at shining tables under a roof of living vines. Some looked like walking crystals. Others floated above the ground. Some had wings. Others had 4 arms. But all wore elegant clothes and showed respect as Velna entered with Rami beside her. Velna introduced him. "This is Rami of Earth. The bond has chosen him." Many bowed. Some clapped softly, but a few whispered behind closed hands. One tall figure stepped forward. He was dressed in dark blue robes with cold silver eyes. "I am Darnell," he said, "advisor to the High Council. With respect, my queen, how can this boy understand our ways? He is young, untrained, from a world that knows nothing of us." Velna answered calmly, "The bond does not choose by age or title. It chooses by spirit." Darnell looked at Rami. "Then let him prove it." The room grew quiet. Rami felt nervous but stood tall. "I don't know much about your empire," he said. "I don't know your customs or laws, but I want to learn. Not because I want power, but because I want to help." There was silence. Then someone from the back said, "Let him try." Others nodded. Darnell said nothing more and stepped back. Velna turned to Rami. "You spoke well. Tomorrow, you will begin your lessons. If you wish to stay, you must understand our ways. And if you pass the trials of the chosen, your place beside me will be your choice to accept. Rami felt his heart race. I'll try my best. That night, Rami sat alone in a small garden behind the palace. The stars above looked just like those on Earth, yet everything was different. The bracelet glowed as he touched it. I'm not sure why you picked me, he whispered. But I'm here now, so I'll do what I can. Somewhere deep inside, the bracelet pulsed as if it understood. And in the quiet garden of a world far from home, a simple boy from Earth took his first step toward something greater than he ever imagined. The morning sky over Oran Prime was filled with soft golden light. The towers of the capital sparkled, and the air carried a light breeze. But Rami's heart felt heavy. Today his training would begin. He stood in front of the Hall of Trials, a tall building made of crystal and stone. Its doors were covered in glowing symbols. Queen Velna had told him last night, to be accepted as the chosen mate, you must pass the trials, not by force, but by truth. Rami had no sword, no special powers, just his heart, his mind, and the bracelet. Alari, the first guard, stood beside him. The trials are not meant to break you, she said. They are meant to show who you really are. Rami nodded. I'm ready. At least I think I am. Alari smiled gently. Then step forward, Rami of Earth. Inside the hall, the air was cool and quiet. Rami walked through long halls covered in glowing vines. He entered a round chamber where a large glowing stone floated in the center. Around it, 6 watchers stood. Beings from different planets, wise and old. One of them spoke. Rami, you will face 3 trials: truth, spirit, and heart. Rami took a deep breath. I understand. The first begins now. The stone flashed. Trial 1. The test of truth. Rami found himself standing in his village, or what looked like it. The sun was shining, birds chirping, and Mina was there, waving, but something felt off. As he walked closer, she spoke. Rami, you left us. You ran away to the stars and forgot your home. Rami stopped. No, I didn't forget. I came because I had to understand. Mina's face changed. You think you're better now? Wearing that bracelet? Living with aliens? Rami's heart hurt. No, I still miss my home. I never wanted to leave, but the world is bigger than I thought, and if I can help, even a little, I must try. The sky turned dark. The village faded. A calm voice echoed, Truth accepted. Rami opened his eyes. He was back in the chamber. One watcher nodded. You spoke from the heart. You passed. Trial 2. The test of spirit. Now he stood in the middle of a burning field. Alien creatures with sharp claws roared in the distance. People cried out for help. He saw a small child trapped under broken stones. Without thinking, Rami ran to help. He pushed the stones away with all his strength. His arms shook, but he didn't stop. The fire grew closer. The child screamed. Rami threw the last stone and pulled the child to safety. Then a voice said, Why did you help? No one would have blamed you if you ran. Rami replied, Because someone had to. If I walked away, I wouldn't be me anymore. The fire vanished. The field disappeared. Spirit accepted. Back in the chamber, another watcher gave a slight smile. You showed courage, not in fighting, but in choosing others before yourself. Trial 3. The test of heart. This time, Rami was in a great hall filled with people, leaders from many planets. Queen Velna stood beside him. A voice said, You may take power now. Sit beside the queen. Rule the empire. A golden chair appeared. It glowed, full of light and warmth. Rami stepped forward. Then he stopped. He turned to Velna. "I can't sit there yet," he said. "Not until I understand your people better. I don't want to lead. I want to learn first." The chair faded. The hall turned to light. Hart accepted. Back in the chamber, all 6 watchers stepped forward and bowed. "You have passed all 3 trials, Rami of Earth." Later, Rami sat outside the hall under a tall silver tree. He looked up at the sky, feeling both tired and proud. The bracelet on his wrist shimmered softly. Alari came and sat beside him. "Very few pass all 3 trials on their first try," she said. "You did." "I didn't do anything special," Rami replied. "I just spoke the truth." "That is what makes it special," Alari said. The next day, a celebration was held in the Star Garden. Beings from many planets gathered to honor Rami's success. Queen Velna stood before the crowd. "The bond has chosen well. Rami has passed the trials. He now walks the path of unity between Earth and the Auran Empire." Rami stepped forward. He wore a simple robe, the symbol of a learner. The crowd clapped, and some smiled with warm eyes. But not everyone was happy. Darnell, the high advisor who had doubted Rami from the start, stood at the back with a cold expression. He whispered to another official, "He passed the trials, yes. But he still doesn't belong." The other nodded. "We should keep watching him." Rami did not hear them. He stood beside Velna and looked out at the peaceful garden. But deep inside, he knew this peace would not last forever. That night, as stars lit the sky, Rami walked through the palace gardens alone. Flowers glowed around him, and small lights floated in the air like fireflies. Velna joined him quietly. "You did well," she said. "I didn't do it alone," Rami replied. "The bracelet helped me." She looked at the glowing band on his wrist. "The bond doesn't give answers. It only listens. What you did came from your heart." Rami looked at her. "So what now?" "Now," Velna said, "you begin the true journey. The trials were only the door. The real path lies ahead, and it will not be easy." Rami nodded slowly. "I'm not afraid." "I believe you," she said, and smiled. The stars above them seemed to shine brighter that night. And though Rami didn't know what dangers were coming, he had already proven something important, that even a simple heart can carry great light. Days passed after Rami's trials, and life on Auran Prime became more familiar to him. He studied every morning with wise teachers, learned about the planets in the Auran Empire, and trained in peace talks and leadership. Even though he still felt like a village boy from Earth, the people had started to treat him with more respect. He would often walk through the gardens or sit in the learning halls and listen to stories from other worlds. His favorite part was speaking with young learners from other species. They laughed with him, asked about Earth, and listened closely when he told simple stories from his village. But peace never lasts forever. One evening, Queen Velna called Rami to the council room. The mood was serious. Alari stood beside her, and the other advisors wore grave faces. Velna looked at Rami and said, "There has been an attack." "Where?" Rami asked quickly. "On the outer world of Cernus 4, Velna replied. "One of our border planets. The Drelak swarm has returned." The name made the room feel colder. "The Drelak," Alari explained, "are not like us. They do not speak, trade, or seek peace. They grow like insects, destroy what they cannot use, and move on. Long ago, we fought them and forced them into the dark corners of space. But now, they are back." Rami frowned. "Why now?" Velna's golden eyes locked with his. "Because they sensed something has changed. They have learned about the bond, and about you." Rami felt a chill run down his spine. They're coming for me? They believe the bond has power beyond what we know, Velna said. They think if they take you, they can break our unity. Rami took a deep breath. Then we stop them. Darnell, who stood near the edge of the room, raised an eyebrow. You speak with courage, boy, but you are no warrior. I don't want war, Rami replied. But if people are in danger, I won't just sit in the palace. The next day, Rami joined a team flying to Cernus 4. It was his first time leaving, or in Prime. He wore simple armor for protection, light but strong. Alari led the mission. Cernus 4 was a farming world, not so different from Rami's village. But when they landed, the fields were burned, and many homes were destroyed. Ash floated in the air. Rami walked through the ruins. His heart ached. He saw families hiding in shelters, children crying, and farmers trying to rebuild with shaking hands. They were only here for hours, a local said, but it felt like days. We couldn't stop them. Alari explained, the Draelac come in waves. They test our strength. Then they return in full force. Rami nodded. Then we prepare. That evening, while the team helped repair buildings and deliver food, Rami walked near the edge of a broken village. He saw a small group of alien children, their skin blue-green, their eyes wide with fear. One of them sat crying beside a broken tower. Rami approached slowly. Are you okay? He asked gently. The child didn't respond. Rami sat beside him. I know you're scared. I was too. When the ship came to my village, I didn't know what was going to happen. But you're not alone now. The child looked up. They took my brother. Rami's heart sank. We'll find him. I promise. Suddenly, a loud sound came from the hills. A ship, sharp and dark, appeared in the sky. The Draelac were back. Screams echoed. People ran to shelters. Alari shouted commands. Fighters moved into position. Rami stood frozen for a moment. Then he looked at the crying child. Stay here, he said, then ran toward the danger. The Draelac ship dropped metal creatures, tall with long claws and glowing red eyes. They moved quickly, smashing buildings and scanning the area. Alari and the guards fought bravely, using energy staffs and shields. But the Draelac were strong. Rami saw one of the metal creatures moving toward a group of trapped villagers. He didn't think. He just ran. Hey! He shouted. The creature turned toward him. Rami held up his wrist. The bracelet glowed, brighter than ever before. A wave of golden energy blasted from it, hitting the creature and sending it flying backward. Everyone stopped for a second. Even the Draelac hesitated. Rami looked at his hand. What was that? Alari ran to his side. The bracelet responded to your will. It's protecting you. Rami nodded. Then let's use it. He moved through the village, helping people escape, using the bracelet's light to block attacks. He wasn't a fighter, but he didn't run away either. At one point, he found the boy's missing brother trapped under metal wreckage. Rami pulled him out and carried him back. The brothers hugged each other tightly. After hours of fighting, the Draelac ship pulled back and flew away. The people cheered, though their faces were still full of worry. Back at the shelter, Velna's voice came through a communicator. You were brave, Rami. You stood for our people. I didn't do it alone, he replied. They protected each other. I just followed their example. Alari placed a hand on his shoulder. Today, you were more than the chosen mate. You were one of us. That night, as the stars returned to the sky and the fires went out, Rami sat outside a half-broken home, watching children sleep peacefully. He looked at the bracelet. It pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. He whispered, I don't know what you really are, but thank you. Somewhere deep in the stars, the Draelac were planning their next move. But they had made one mistake. They thought Rami was weak. They didn't know that the heart of a simple farm boy could become the light that even the shadows feared. A full week had passed since the battle on Cernus 4. The people had started to rebuild, and Rami stayed to help. Though he wasn't strong like the guards or wise like the scholars, everyone listened to him now. He sat with the farmers, helped, cleared broken homes, and told stories to the children before they slept. The bracelet on his wrist glowed softly each time he did something kind, as if it was responding to his heart. But Rami knew peace wouldn't last, not while the Dralek swarm still moved in the dark. One evening, a small ship arrived. Queen Velna had come in person. She stepped out, her long silver robe flowing in the wind. The villagers bowed, but Rami just smiled. "I didn't expect you here," he said. Velna nodded. "I wanted to see you myself." She walked beside him through the village ruins. They passed children playing near a half-built wall and elders cooking food over a fire. "They listen to you," Velna said softly. "You give them hope." "I'm just trying to help," Rami replied. "That's exactly what a true leader does." Later that night, under the soft light of the twin moons, Rami and Velna sat beside a quiet stream. The stars reflected in the water. Rami looked at the bracelet. "You said this was made by the ancients, but I still don't understand what it really is." Velna watched him closely. "The bond is not just a tool. It is a living energy. It connects two souls who are meant to guide the future together." Rami hesitated. "You mean, like marriage?" Velna smiled gently. "Not in the way your people think. The bond is not forced. It grows only with trust. It's a choice." He looked away. "But I'm just a boy from Earth." "You are more than that now," she said. "You have passed the trials. You have faced danger, and you have protected life, even when you were afraid." She touched her own bracelet. It began to glow, and Rami's bracelet glowed in answer. A golden light stretched between them, soft and warm. "This is the joining light," Velna said. "It shows that both hearts are ready. But the final choice is yours." Before Rami could reply, a sharp noise rang out. A small scout ship flew, low over the village. A message came through. "Emergency! The Dralek are attacking the capital. Oren Prime is under siege." Velna stood quickly. Her calm face turned serious. "They've come sooner than expected." Rami's heart jumped. "The palace, the children, what about the learners in the Star Garden?" "They're in danger," she said. Rami didn't hesitate. "Then we go, now." The return to Oren Prime was fast. The sky above the city was filled with black ships. Explosions lit the clouds. Energy shields protected the palace, but they were weakening. Rami and Velna landed in the middle of chaos. Alari ran to meet them, bruised but still strong. "They struck with full force," she said. "We've pushed them back from the inner towers, but the Star Garden is surrounded." Rami looked at the golden towers in the distance, now covered in smoke and fire. "That's where the youngest are." Velna placed her hand on his shoulder. "Then that's where we go." Rami, Velna, and Alari led a small team through the damaged city streets. Dralek creatures swarmed like shadows, their red eyes glowing. But Rami moved forward without fear. As they reached the Star Garden, they saw dozens of children and young learners trapped inside a dome. Dralek machines were breaking through. Rami ran ahead. "Get back!" he shouted. The bracelet on his wrist glowed bright, brighter than ever before. Suddenly, a wave of golden light burst from him. It formed a giant shield around the dome, stopping the Dralek in their tracks. The creatures hissed and turned toward him. Alari stood at his side. "You have their attention now." "Good," Rami said, breathing hard. "Let them come." Velna raised her arm. Her bracelet glowed, and together the light between her and Rami formed a wide path of energy. It spread like fire, pushing the Drelak back. Then Rami felt something strange. The bracelet began to hum, and inside his mind he heard voices, old, deep, and full of power. You are the bond's keeper. You are the light in the dark. He saw memories, not his own, of other bondholders from long ago. Heroes, peacemakers, teachers. Each of them had carried the light during times of war. Now, it was his turn. Rami stepped forward, raising his wrist high. "Leave this place!" he shouted. "You will not take our people!" The golden energy expanded again. This time it didn't just protect, it healed. Broken walls repaired. Fires faded. The frightened children stopped crying. The Drelak shrieked and began to fall back. Velna stood beside him, her voice calm but strong. "This is not just a symbol," she said. "This is the heart of unity." The enemy ships pulled away. One by one, the Drelak retreated into the dark sky, their attack broken. After the battle, the city lit up again. People cheered as the palace shields returned. The streets were filled with relief and hope. Inside the Crystal Palace, Rami stood, before the Great Council once more. His robe was torn and his arms were sore, but his spirit was strong. Velna stood beside him. "The bond has awakened fully," she said. "It responded to his heart, not his strength. He is truly one with our people." Darnell, who had once doubted Rami, stepped forward and bowed. "I was wrong. You have shown more courage than many. Of our own." Rami looked around the hall. He didn't feel like a stranger anymore. He felt like he belonged. Velna turned to him. "Now the choice is yours. Will you stay with us, walk the path of peace, and complete the bond?" Rami looked at the bracelet. He thought of his village, Mina, the forest, the stars. And then he looked at Velna, calm, wise, strong. "I don't know what the future holds," he said, "but I want to help build it." He raised his hand. Velna raised hers. The bracelets touched. A soft, golden light filled the room, warm, peaceful, and true. The bond was complete. The capital city of Aran Prime was quiet after the battle. The sky was blue again. The golden towers stood tall, their lights glowing softly like a heartbeat. People walked freely in the streets, their faces filled with peace and joy. In the center of the Crystal Palace, Rami stood beside Queen Velna. The great hall was filled with citizens, guards, scholars, and children. All had come to witness the final moment of the bond. Velna looked at him, her voice steady. "The bond is complete, but what comes next is your decision." Rami nodded. "I never planned to leave Earth, but I feel something here. A reason to stay." She smiled. "Then stand with me, not as a visitor, but as a part of our future." The crowd went silent as Rami stepped forward. A beam of golden light shone down from the ceiling. His bracelet glowed again, pulsing like a living star. Velna raised her arm and Rami raised his. As their bracelets touched once more, the light around them grew stronger. The two lights merged, creating a symbol in the air, a star wrapped in a ring. Everyone gasped in wonder. An elder from the council stepped forward. "From this day on," he announced, "Rami shall be known as the Star Bond, a guardian of peace, a friend to all worlds." Cheers filled the hall, children clapped, the guards raised their arms in salute. But Rami didn't feel like a hero. He just felt right. Days passed. The city celebrated. Rami began training, not for war but for leadership. He learned about star routes, energy crystals, ancient stories, and how to help people without using force. Velna walked with him often, teaching him about the galaxy. They visited the green, floating gardens, the silver learning domes, and the hidden caves where the old songs were written. One day, while standing on a high balcony, Rami asked, "Do you think the Drelek will return?" Velna nodded slowly. Evil never disappears forever. But now, they know we stand united. And if they do come back, then we'll face them. Together. Rami also began to visit other planets in the Empire. He spoke to leaders, workers, and young learners. On one moon, he helped rebuild a school. On another, he stopped a storm using the Bond's light. People started calling him the boy with the star in his wrist. Some even touched their wrists in respect when they saw him. But he never acted proud. He remembered his village, the quiet forest, and how all of this began with a strange bracelet he thought was just junk. One quiet night, Rami sat alone on the palace roof. The stars above were endless. He missed Earth sometimes. The food, the sky, the sound of wind in trees. Suddenly, he heard soft footsteps. Velna joined him. "You think about home?" she said. Rami nodded. "Sometimes. I wonder what my friends are doing, if they're safe." "You could visit," she offered. "I will. One day," he said. "But not yet. There's too much work. Here." Velna smiled. "You've grown stronger." He looked at her. "Not just because of the bond. It's because I saw how much people need hope." Velna nodded. "That is why the bond chose you." The next day, a message arrived from deep space. A small, peaceful world was under threat, not from the Drelak, but from a mining group breaking their agreements. Rami stood before the council. "Let me go. I'll talk to them." "You will not go alone," Velna said. "Alari will guide you." And so, Rami boarded a silver starship, flying with Alari across the stars. They arrived in the middle of tension, angry voices, fearful farmers, drones flying above the fields. Rami stepped out calmly. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to listen." He spent days talking to both sides. He found a path that saved the land and kept peace. When he left, the people gifted him a small tree. "A symbol of growth," they said. Rami smiled. "I'll plant it on Oran Prime." When he returned, the Empire welcomed him like a hero. But he didn't stop. There were more places to visit, more people to help. Each time he used the bond, it grew brighter. Each time he spoke to someone in need, they felt stronger. He wasn't just a mate to the queen. He was now a bridge between worlds. One evening, the elders called for a special meeting. The crystal dome was filled with light. "We have watched Rami," one elder said. "He brings light where there is darkness, unity where there is division. We offer him a new name, Rami Starbearer." The name echoed across the dome. Velna stepped beside him, placing her hand over his. "You are not from our world, but your heart is part of it now." He looked around the room, faces from many planets. People who once doubted him now stood proud. He smiled. "I will carry this name with honor." In time, legends began to grow. Stories of the Earth Boy who became the heart of an empire, who wore a simple bracelet and changed the stars. Children spoke his name during games. Young leaders studied his choices. Even distant worlds sent him messages, asking for guidance. But Rami never forgot where he came from. And once every year, he would visit a small green world at the edge of space. Earth. He would walk the forests of his childhood, visit Mina's garden, sit beside the old tree where he first found the bracelet. No one recognized him there, and he liked it that way. One day, as he stood watching Earth's sunset, Velna joined him. She wore a simple cloak and smiled at the sky. "Still beautiful?" she said. "Yes," Rami replied, "but even more beautiful when shared." They held hands, bracelets touching, their light soft and steady. The wind blew gently, and in the fading light, two hearts stood under the stars. One from Earth, one from beyond, but both beating as one. The bond was more than magic. It was a promise, a beginning, and the light would never fade.